It's a bittersweet moment when you realize you're getting to be a senior tech. You're getting older, cold starts slowing you down, you lost your innocence, and you don't bounce off the floor as quickly as you used to. On the other hand, you get to be the guy that helps the less experienced folks, and that's a nice feeling. My beard isn't gray yet, but when it is, I'll wear it with pride, assuming I ever get to take this mask off. So for this video, I'm going to review the 5 tools that have made their place into my heart over the last 10 to 15 years. Some are beloved by techs all around the world, and some are hidden gems I think everybody should own. Let's get started with something that exploded in popularity from virtually non-existent to toolboxes everywhere over the course of the past decade. This is the #1 tool that when old whitebeards see me use it, they tell me they wish they had it when they were my age. They existed, but they weren't very practical or very good. Kind of a novelty. NiCad Vintage. I remember trying to remove headers from a 4th gen Firebird with a buddy ages ago, loosening the manifold nuts one click at a time. Bent over an LT1, shoved under the cowl like a minivan motor, talking about what would we be willing to pay for a hypothetical self-loosening nut. I recall settling on $90, and that was 15 years ago. Well, here it is. Kids today don't appreciate how awesome this is. I once had the fuel version, and I took it to the junkyard and set it down in some engine bay and forgot about it. Forgot to put it back in the tool bag. It happens to all of us. I drove 15 minutes home, panicked because it was a gift from my wife, and floored it back to the junkyard. Of course it was gone. I doubt it was there 5 minutes, but whoever took it, I hope you enjoy it, You
utter pirate!
I bought this non-fuel version as the replacement over the brushless fuel version for a couple reasons. Firstly, because of the smaller head. A big bulbous head is useless if you can't fit it in. Ever replaced rear valve cover gaskets on a transverse mounted Toyota V6? Enough said. The price difference is also enough that you can spend the savings on a second battery. The brushless fuel versions do last longer on a single charge, but they don't last twice as long. So for me, buying the fuel version would have been like paying $7,000 extra for a hybrid version of a car for $6,000 in fuel savings over the life of the car. It's not worth it. The fuel is a little more powerful too, but I also found that irrelevant. These aren't designed to bust nuts loose anyway. You want an impact for that. This is for cracking them loose by hand and then spinning the loosened nuts off, and it works just like the fuel version at that job, and the more compact head. I only have 2 complaints. First, reversing direction is a tedious two-handed operation. It's what AVE calls 50-50-90. You got a 50-50 chance of getting it right, and 90% of the time, it'll be wrong. A little switch by the paddle that you could manage with your thumb, that would be awesome. Also, the actual body is pretty short, and to get the full length, you have to tweak on the battery itself. And that just feels wrong. Flaws aside, it's still my favorite version of my favorite tool category. It's been a game changer for me, and now that Milwaukee has a right angle impact as well, I'm pretty tempted. I'll have to try one out. Until that day, this is my go-to cordless tool. This next one has been featured in a few of my videos, and for good reason. There's a lot of talk about how Harbor Freight is going downhill. Their prices are almost the same as the usual scumbags, but the quality doesn't justify it anymore. Also, no coupons? I want my free shit back. For me, the allure of Harbor Freight wasn't the Chinese tools at Chinese prices business model. It was the variety. Need a watch spring bar tool set? Got it. Need an English wheel? Got it. Wheel stud pilot pins, ammo cans, go-kart engines, a folding trailer, solar panels? Got it. They stock and sell everything except the experience to use all this stuff. This ratchet is another one you won't find at a big box store. Not in stock, anyway. Imagine breaking a lug nut loose one-handed with a ratchet that also fits in the glove box of a Mazda Miata. As far as quality, it's got that old farm truck soul to it. It looks like it should be an unreliable piece of crap, but it actually seems to run better with every nick, scratch, and dent it acquires. Teeth are smooth, release mechanism is light. Use it as a hammer? Why not? It was $20 and it carries a lifetime hassle-free warranty. Not that I've ever used it. I've got snap-on ratchets I don't like as much as this thing, and since I bought it, I haven't touched a single other half-inch ratchet. This just does it all. Did I mention lifetime warranty? This one is a 3-piece combo I made myself. The parts combine to make a super useful bug-out kit that I've got in the trunk of every vehicle I own. And it's an OG member of my decade-old work toolbox. That's how useful it is. There's not a whole hell of a lot you can't take apart with this. To start, from Home Depot, this Husky 66604 offset ratchet. I've had this one forever, and it's the best quality, most compact mini ratchet I've ever used. I've changed a tire with one once, but I wouldn't advise it. I swear I did this once. It's long since been discontinued, but fortunately Husky sold the design to VIM Tools, who still churns it out as the HBR5. Basically an identical ratchet, but this one you can still get on Amazon. It's by far the most expensive part of this combo. It costs as much as the other two parts combined, but it's worth every penny. Next, go get yourself this 1/4-inch color-coded socket set from Harbor Freight. Everyone knows the sockets are a bright spot in the Pittsburgh lineup, especially for the price. This setup is nice because it goes up to 14 millimeters, which not many 1/4-inch sets do. I prefer the metric set because most of my personal usage is on stuff from Japan or this millennium. Most. Even then, a lot of it's redundant. Here's your 5/16, your 7/16, your 1/2 inch, and your 9/16. I did throw a loose 3/8 in there just because that one doesn't have a great interchange. The third ingredient in this 3-part kit is this 5 million piece bit set from Harbor Freight. It took me 10 years to finally figure out what all these do. And while I've never broken one, I've lost plenty along the way. Slowly I'm replacing the lost ones with WeHob bits from McMaster Carr, and I've added a few extras. I use a lot of 3/32 hex in my line of work, so I added a few flavors of those. I also added the longer number 2 Phillips bits, which are super handy and Harbor Freight sells as a multi-pack. The best part is, what really makes this kit awesome is that all the sockets I mentioned and the ratchet fit in the case, which itself is small enough to hide anywhere. But after 10 years, the solid plastic latch does exactly what you would expect it to do, but I'm not ready to move on yet. My job requires me to carry everything I need in one toolbox. I work in the field in tight places and diverse environments, locked down clean rooms, up and down 7 city blocks in July and January. I have to climb stairs in buildings that predate the ADA by 100 years, all as a 145-pound guy. So when I shop for tools for work, it's not about what it can do for me, it's about what I'm willing to give up to make it fit in my toolbox. What can it replace? This good old girl has been in constant use for 10 years professionally without malfunction. Obviously, the batteries don't hold up to a decade of constant use, but this is the world's easiest battery to rebuild. It's dumb, no smart circuitry, and just a single 18650 to swap out. The downside is it's only 4 volts, but I'm not into the dick-swinging voltage arms race going on with battery tools these days. Snap-on had 14 volt, but then Milwaukee got 18 volt, and now DeWalt has 20 volt, and now even Harbor Freight has 80 volt tools. I can't keep up anymore. It's mostly for bragging rights. Volts aren't power, people. Wattage is power. The difference between a couple of volts is the marketing. It's not like you're ripping off lug nuts here with this thing. But if, like me, you're stuck on doing a buttload of 70mm long M4 machine screws, that's 1. Two down, 8 to go. Then this is a Toolbox MVP. Too much power is dangerous. Also, the best thing about single-cell tools like this is you can charge them via USB. I love having this thing plugged into my car ready to go at all times. I can make a tutorial if anyone cares. I certainly would have upgraded after 10 years, but nobody makes a comparable tool today. 30 million tool companies, and nobody makes a single one that meets both of my criteria. It must be this light and compact, and it must come with variable speed. For precise control with tiny fasteners. This M12 driver is a great tool for around an engine bay or a construction site, but it's just too bulky for traveling light and too powerful for a lot of applications. Keeping an eye on eBay for another one of these as backup, I suppose. Not having much luck. Speaking of variable speed, check this out. No potentiometers in here. This thing uses alien technology. Check it out. It's freaking optical. There's an optical proximity sensor on the board right here that senses the distance between itself and the backside of the trigger. Watch this party trick. Tell me that's not cool. It's so clever, so unnecessary, so German. If you'll notice, the title of the video is my 5 favorite tools, not the 5 best tools. Case in point, this not very good Craftsman ratchet. The teeth are kind of coarse. The handle, it's not very comfortable. And it doesn't really have that much reach or leverage. And since Sears went under, the warranty's worth its weight in Chinesium, because that's what all the new ones are made of now. The reason this is on my list is sentimental. What mechanic didn't start with one of these as a kid? Whether you got the set for Christmas, inherited your peepals, or stole your dad's, this same ratchet was genesis for millions of car guys. So it's here for subjective reasons. I've got 4 better ratchets I'll go for before I wake this one from its dusty slumber in the back of the tool drawer. But I'll never get rid of it. Just in case I need to be humbled, or reminded how good I've got it, and where I started from. Where most of us started from. A simpler time. Hey, thanks for watching.